Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. What it do, snack X and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin. Jokes is in the building. Jokes,
Yo,
how do you
yo.
sound? Okay,
How do I sound?
you're there.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
a little low, but I can hear you. You know
Cool.
what I mean? You might have to project a little bit this evening.
Alrighty then.
That's a little better. I don't imagine you can keep it up though. You are
Probably
now
not.
tuned in to 11 Snacks
Got
Weekly,
some water though.
where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today,
Today.
let's talk about Marathon. Um, we're gonna watch that trailer. Um, it's kind of unavoidable. We're gonna talk about tariffs because it's affecting us. Um, we're gonna talk about Cuddy 3 live crew. I mean, some nights, sir. You're right about that. We'll talk a little bit about Devil May Cry on Netflix. Early impressions of The Last of Us season 2 on Max. It's so difficult for me to drop the HBO part of that. I have
I
to
know
think
it's
about
it's
it every time. That's how you know it's a bad name. I don't know why they did that. It's a bad choice. Um, but first things first, Jokes has a job to do. I
yes,
imagine he's
sir.
already on it, getting that Beacons link up and live for all of you so that you can follow us wherever we happen to be. What's up, Andrew? He says, "Hey there, everyone, and Jokes is here on time." That is right. That's right. Candace says, "Gang's all here." It's true. Very true. Sin,
Yo.
do your job.
So let's shout out our top tier Patreon members, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dorch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
All right, you doing okay there, buddy?
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a mishap. Well, that messed you up a little, just a tad, just a tit for tad, a
Just
little
a
bit.
coach.
You know what? It happens. We do love you all. Thank you for tuning in, for hanging out with us this evening. Um, Jokes
Mm-hmm.
today, unlike what we usually do, where we like hold on to the trailers and so forth until like the middle or the end of the show. Today, no. Um, if you would jump into the show links, or do I need to give it to you because you listen? For y'all, Jokes was on time. For us,
Not so much.
Jokes was like, "Do I need to send you? You want me to send you the link? Want me to drop
Yeah,
it
if you want
in the
to.
private chat?"
Depending on which one you're gonna talk about first, I may already have one already ready to go.
Well, here's the thing, Jokes. We like to get our links from different places, and I try. Oh Lord, there it is. Cuddy already on you, Jokes. It's WrestleMania week. You don't have an appropriate background. What's
Hey,
going on? There's
listen,
no
you heard
Gunther
He
in
you.
got you on
wrestling.
that. Yeah. I get it. Gundam, a new Gundam is out now, but it is
You want me
WrestleMania
to tell
week.
you? Want me to tell you what happened, Cuddy? For you all, Jokes was on time.
There it is.
Jokes was late. Um, I just didn't have time to make that change to Michael Jackson. That thing, the man in the mirror, it as it
Yep.
were. Um, there's a link for you. We have to discuss Marathon. Um, I unfortunately feel like it's going to take longer than I wanted to, but um, I think it's kind of necessary, and I think that the discussion about Marathon will probably feed fairly well into the discussion on what is happening with entertainment and tariffs.
Hmm.
Um, Jokes. I forget sometimes that when I send you a link like that, that I don't do ads but you all do
No, no,
have.
no, 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 sir. I'm on logged in. Listen, that's why we have the loading snacks page, because then I ain't got to worry about it.
I mean, that joint has ads though.
Oh, it does.
Sometimes,
Oh, they
but,
don't. Well, it
you
don't
know,
matter. That joint's already booted up, so it's ready to go. So if there was an ad, it ain't there now.
let's do it, buddy. Let's look at Marathon and let's talk about what this is.
Boom.
Struggle is still real. So I'm going to tell you right now, it looks like, it feels like, and sounds like Destiny. Um, not sure how I feel about that.
Death, the end of all things. But the dream is not over. My dream, yours. Now, run.
Uh-oh. Did we lose?
Mm.
What happened, Jokes?
Listen,
Hello, buddy.
oh, it even has a date.
It does have a date. September 23rd. Um, I can't see you, Jokes, just so you know. I don't know if
I can't see
Oh,
him either.
nice.
okay. There you are, buddy. Well,
Nope.
okay. Okay. Well, wait. Okay. Um, Sin,
Yeah.
what are your initial thoughts about Marathon?
It was hard to follow. It was pretty choppy on my end trying to watch it, but I do like
Yeah.
the visuals and aesthetics of it. Uh,
Okay.
but I do like I can see the Destiny seasoning sprinkled on it for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm intrigued.
Did you not watch the trailer at all when Jokes sent it to the group chat?
I'm pretty sure I did not.
Okay. Good for you. Jokes,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts right now on what you have seen from Marathon?
It's to me, it just looks like the extra like a DLC thing that didn't make it to Destiny, so we decided to make it into another game almost. So like it's kind of a good thing, but at the same time, it's kind of a bad thing. Like y'all know I have a love hate relationship with Destiny, and it's kind of like depending on how the gameplay, I'm definitely gonna get it and play it, but I'm not completely sold on it just yet. So
That's interesting. You know what, Jokes? You're one of my favorite people, and part of the reason for that is because you're one of the only people I know that can speak in a circle and it makes sense for you.
mm,
I'm definitely going to get it and play it, but I'm not sold on it. Sounds like I'm sold on it because I'm definitely going to get it and play it. So,
because
not sold on it doesn't mean you won't spend the money. It
yeah,
means you're going to spend the money, even though you are not sold on whether or not it's going to be worth it to have spent the money. You are going to spend the money
hmm
regardless.
Yeah, like listen, I love Bungie, and I love what they've done for like this genre of gaming. And I enjoy Destiny. So I feel like I am going to enjoy this. But I feel like at a certain point, depending on how it's treated and how they future proof it, is it going to keep me in the game? Like if they release like a deluxe edition and stuff, there's a chance maybe I'll only get the standard edition right now. I need to put in for the alpha because I'll definitely, just like I did with Destiny, got into the alpha, got me into it. But it's just a matter. Is it? Why am I going to spend my time here when I can spend it in Destiny still? Especially with the
What
new
is
stuff that's coming out.
your relationship with extraction shooters?
We played. What was that zone called for a little bit?
I don't know what it was called for a little bit because
The
you didn't say anything about
No,
whatever it is.
what
the
the
word
Tom Clancy zone?
division.
Oh, the
No,
division
Oh, Rainbow Six.
extraction.
the Rainbow Six zone. Yeah, or you can
Rainbow
call it.
Six
I don't.
extraction.
Yeah, I ain't played that much of it.
Yeah, you did not. So, what is your relationship with extraction shooters?
That's
We
about it.
played that joint a lot. Me and
Hmm.
Sin and Cuddy
Mm-hmm.
played it a lot. Andrew says, I'm confused. So, another game called Marathon that isn't connected to the other one from the 90s. Correct. It is. It seems to be Marathon, mostly only in name. There is, however, they did release it's an almost 9-minute cinematic trailer by the folks who did Love, Death, and Robots that also released. We weren't going to watch that. That has a story. There is a story. I couldn't tell you how much it really matters, to be honest, for
Hmm.
something that is an extraction shooter. This looks like, to me, and just follow my tracks for a moment.
Hmm.
This looks to me like they de-skinned Destiny, put another game type into Destiny, and then reskinned it as Reboot from the TV show. I think this game is ugly. Not like the crispness and cleanness of the
Hmm.
lines and the whatever is cool, but the world looks boring to me. It sort of reminds me. You remember Blink? Jokes, did you
That
play
Hmm.
Blink?
I was thinking about that this whole time watching it. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Blink. Right now, again, we're just seeing like that map, very blue, very whatever. Like we don't know what all the environments are gonna end up looking like or whatever. But like, I don't know. I am not a fan of the like semi-robotic slash mannequin type appearances of the characters. They don't look cool to me. It doesn't say to me like, oh, I can't wait to get skins to go on this character or this character type. I'm not super heavy into the idea of an extraction shooter.
Hmm.
I do trust Bungie in terms of gunplay. Like
Hmm.
FPS gunplay, again, it looks like Destiny. It sounds like Destiny. You can see the movement. It's got that movement in it and so forth. So I imagine it feels like playing Destiny, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Hmm.
But it also could be a very bad thing because while I do think it is necessary to have something that is new and updated and takes advantage of the newer consoles and the power that they can put out
Hmm.
versus maybe just doing an update to Destiny. Like they almost could have just made this another game inside of Destiny
Mm-hmm.
to some extent, in my opinion, right? This is an extraction shooter that they have intentions on, according to them. They have a long-term plan for the game. Okay. They have not shared exactly what that is. What we do know is that they have compared it to uh so what's going to happen is every time there's a new season, so you
Hmm.
go in, if you can extract with whatever you've captured, you keep that loot. That's how it works, right? At the end of a season, when a new season starts, you are starting with a brand new character, fresh. So every season, you're starting from scratch,
Mm.
which again can be good or bad because in terms of longevity, there is the well, if I'm new to this game,
Mm-hmm.
I can jump in a brand new season and everybody's starting from the same place. With the exception of obviously there are people who already know how the mechanics of it work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're all on an even playing field in terms of what we have, what we bring, whatever. So maybe that works, right? In terms of allowing new people to jump in or something like that. The other point of contention, probably the biggest point of contention right now, is the price point. They have stated that it will not be free to play. So it's not going to be a
Okay.
free to play game. You will have to pay it.
Okay.
They do say the words premium price.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what that means,
Okay.
right? Obviously, Bungie is owned by Sony now.
Mm-hmm.
We can't talk about a shooter coming out
Mm.
from Sony on that end without talking about Concord,
Yep.
Concord. Mm-hmm.
the game that lasted 2 weeks.
Yep. And
This
all this millions of dollars put into it. Yep.
yeah, it doesn't look that different to me for real. In terms of feel and movement and what like it just doesn't look like again, I would say one of the things that Concord had maybe going against it was that the characters, which at least was a thing to try to draw you in,
Mm-hmm.
was the individuality of the different characters and character types or whatever. People were like, that looks like Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks and feels like something we've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Seems kind of whatever. What I have seen of this right now doesn't even do that for me. It doesn't make me feel like, oh, at least there is a character for me to attach myself to or to feel, one way or the other about. It really does make me wonder why, if you're Bungie, if you're Sony, you would even drop just this without at least being prepared to tell people this is what the game's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
This is how much it is. This is how long. Like, it just feels like it's premature. Like,
Yeah, especially after
why?
Nintendo came out and dropped that, those price points and stuff like that. A lot of people are talking about that right now. So if you're a quote unquote competitor, even though not really, but still, if your competitor drops something like that and drops those prices down, and you're dropping this new IP from a shooter when your last shooter flopped completely, like that's one of the biggest questions people are going to be asking for sure.
I mean, look, it is Bungie, and
Mm-hmm.
Bungie has a name, and they have a following.
Mm-hmm.
There is a certain level, I believe, of guarantee, a certain level. But in this landscape, right, you are introducing this kind of a game where there are tons of games like it already,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
paid or not.
Popular
Tons
ones
of them.
too, yeah, with followings, yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
loyal followings, yeah.
you can't do a shooter without bringing up Call of Duty, without bringing up Apex, without bringing up
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch, without bringing up Concord, without bringing
Mm-hmm.
up Destiny. They all feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? The guns are the same, the sounds are the same, they look the same. So what are you doing? What is really different other than what, in my
What sets
opinion,
it apart, yeah.
yeah, this looks ugly to me. It just does. So what is the difference? Why should anybody choose this game as the game that they're going to play for the next however long? One is going to be price point for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're telling me that whatever progress I make, I'm losing whenever there's a new season, I don't know if that holds people, right? Again, in this landscape, I think right now people are like, well, I got it and I paid for it. And yes, I'm having fun with it, but like I earned all this stuff. What does that net you if does, if it's not like just a badge to say that
Mhm.
I extracted in season 1 with this much stuff.
Right. What
What
does
does
that
that do
get
for
you?
you? Again,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about Bungie. This is a company that literally makes physical products for you to get if you achieve certain things
Yeah,
in their game,
true.
or at least in Destiny, right?
Yeah.
But let's be real. That is for the hardest of the hardcore. Period. It is. And in order to do that, you have to be in a mind frame where this is the game you're going to play and you're really not playing
Playing anything else.
anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So what about Marathon says put everything else you got down? Don't even it's over. We got it. This is your game for the next however long. I don't
Mm-hmm.
personally see it. Cuddy said I didn't like that with Diablo having to start a new character every season. That is actually what they compared it to was Diablo. Having to start with a new character every season is basically the way that they compared it. Look, I think it's an interesting take. I just don't know if it's the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Time will tell,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe they didn't announce a price because it's like, well, we don't know what we need to charge because we don't know what it's going to cost us on the back end,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But then also, cute, why are you showing this now then? Wait till June when it's quote unquote E3 time, which doesn't
And then
exist
drop
anymore,
it. Yeah.
and drop everything, bro. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that feels like a really bad look to me. Now, what I will say is, again, they say wish list on all platforms.
Mm-hmm.
This is not when Sony purchased Bungie. Bungie made it clear we are within Sony, but we are still a separate entity. We are going to continue to make games for all platforms. So this is coming to Xbox. It will be on PlayStation. Maybe it's coming to Switch too. I don't know. Or PC. So let's at least say PC, Xbox, PlayStation, which I
Okay.
do think is absolutely necessary if you're going to do a game like this that is only online, has 0 single player components. You must have a built in audience. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
no two ways about that. Right. All right. So let's say there's a price point on it. So what should the price point be? Concord was only $40.
I'm gonna say somewhere around that. Like I said,
Jokes.
there's too many other options out there to choose from.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Yeah.
that's the price
That are
point for it.
free.
But when they throw that word premium in there, it makes
Yeah,
it
it's scary.
yeah. So if there's a $40 base game, cool. And then maybe if the deluxe version costs that much of a standard game like 69 or something like that, depending on what kind of additions DLC you'll get, maybe. But I think that $40 range, at least as of right now, from what we just got off of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the fair place to put it.
I would be willing to wager that somebody could take the footage from the trailer we just showed, use AI, make it look like Destiny, re-upload it to the internet, and people wouldn't even know it wasn't Destiny. I'm not. I'm being so
Oh, I know.
like for real. There was literally nothing about what they showed in this for me that made me go, "Oh, this is the next evolution of whatever it is Bungie does." To me, this is Bungie doing the exact same thing they've been doing, just
Hmm.
in a different skin. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. This doesn't do anything for me. This literally doesn't move the needle at all.
Hmm.
Unlike jokes, they will not get my money. Like will have to come out and say something crazy,
Crazy.
And he
and I
will.
mean crazy,
And he will.
for me to buy this game. Now, if they come out and they're like, it's $40, but for the first whatever, it's on Game Pass and it's on PlayStation Plus to get people in, which I think
Hmm.
would be smart, which is a thing Concord probably should have done
Hmm.
and didn't do, right? I'll play it. If they find a way to make it free for me, I will play the joint. It
Hmm.
feels good to shoot things in a Bungie game. I won't
True.
deny that.
Yeah.
But I downloaded Destiny 2 again 2 months ago.
Something like that.
and erased that joint again from my hard drive and never even opened it. And here's why: it takes too long to load. I don't love it enough to wait for it to load for me to get to whatever I got to get to so that I can get to the getting. Because all I want to do, I want to get to the getting. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then it takes a long time for us to boot up Grand Theft. Correct?
You're correct.
Like it has a little.
Yeah.
It's way better than it used to be,
One
but
thousand
it takes
percent.
some
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
right? But as soon as I'm in,
I'm in.
the getting,
Just getting. Yeah.
like you know what I'm saying? Like there's no, we can blow things up immediately. Like I don't have to do like it's just, you know. So if it's a regular price game, and when I say regular, I mean $70. Let's call that the current regular standard pricing.
Hmm.
That's too much, jokes.
Right now, I'm kind of like, yeah.
I'm not asking if it's too much for you to spend because you're gonna buy it regardless. You just said that.
Hmm.
You real brave. I know Tatiana sitting behind you. You just like I'm
She's actually
buying.
not behind me right now.
Oh, so
Ha!
if she's in front of you looking at you, that's
No,
even
she's
worse.
not here right now.
She's not in the room. She's listening though.
Oh yeah.
Another comment in a minute.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sin, $70
Mhm.
too much for this?
Yes. Yes.
It is.
Yes.
What do they have to do to convince you of either price point? Like, if it's $40, is $40 good for what you've already seen, or do they have to do some more convincing for you?
Probably more convincing.
Okay,
Since it's strictly like a multiplayer thing or whatever, definitely some more convincing. Yeah, because like we said, it's competitors out there with massive followings that are free. Like so, justify to
yeah,
me why you want me to pay $70 for this, $40 for this, when I can go pick up something else that have a lot of that probably my friends are even playing that I could join them on with and already have a squad running into it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to yeah. Tell me why.
it is
Show me why.
PvPvE.
Hmm.
Says what?
It's PvPvE.
PvE.
Okay.
So there are enemies that are not other players that will be in matches attempting
Mm-hmm.
to keep from extracting with whatever you're trying to get. Um, yeah, I don't know. This just doesn't do it for me, and I feel like the announcement was premature. I
Hmm.
just feel like they jumped the gun. It almost makes me feel like maybe they were planning to have this ready or drop it sooner than now, and maybe they kind of held off because of Concord. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. At this point, Concord, by the time this is September 23rd, they're doing this. So by the time this would have dropped, Concord would have been like a year old.
Yep.
Hmm.
Probably would have ate Concord's lunch anyway. Right? So Helldivers is $30, $40.
Mm-hmm.
Helldivers 2. You know, again, there's stuff for you to get into with a squad and run PlayStation and PC. Again, in this case, they're adding an Xbox, but like
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation and PC, and you know, at that price point, I keep it a buck. Let me ask you a very real question. If this game does not work out,
Hmm.
if this game flops, what happens to Bungie? Can they afford a flop right now in this industry with the way things are going? If this game drops and it doesn't do numbers,
Hmm.
what happens to Bungie?
I think Bungie will be okay.
Why?
Like,
Why? Because it's Bungie?
because it's Bungie. Like, I think as of now, the best eggs they have in their basket is Destiny, and I know
That's over.
with
Let's just consider that over.
mm,
Because there's no new content coming for Destiny, correct?
it's what I didn't look at the newest thing that came out, so I don't know what exactly that is just yet.
And that
Um,
means whatever it is for Destiny is done because you
Mhm.
were the diehard Destiny.
That's
You
very
bought
valid.
Destiny how many times?
Three,
Exactly.
I think.
At least,
At
yeah,
least
I would
three
say at
times for
least.
Destiny 2. How many times you buy Destiny 1? How many hours do you have in Destiny 2? You would go back to replay that joint all the time. You play it with us, play it without us. It's you and Rob from Comic Logic. Y'all are the ones.
Listen, I know how. See, my thing right now is I know,
Hey,
like, I know how I
listen,
am,
Ellis.
lounging with
All right, two
Gage.
things. One, listen, you don't have to put what he says up. You don't have to put it up. That's one. You know what I'm saying? Two, to some extent, Ellis, it's always loungeable. Exactly.
Glass
It's
of
almost,
cognac,
I don't drink no cognac. You,
banana
you and
cognac.
the old fashions, Ellis. Um, it's the red lights, Ellis. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, at this point,
Hmm.
for all intents and purposes, if you're not doing Destiny 3,
Hmm.
and maybe there's somebody working on it somewhere in the
Hmm.
background, there's a separate team for Marathon or whatever it is, but that means Bungie is a lot of people. It
Hmm.
Mhm.
means they're employing a lot of people. So are we talking just layoffs?
I think for the start, yes. If it does not do well, you'll see a lot of layoffs in the beginning. Depending on how bad it is, it'll get worse.
What's the possibility that Sony pulls other teams that they have and puts them on Marathon or whatever Bungie's working on if what Bungie starts doing starts working?
That could
I
definitely
think it's
happen,
good. I think it's a high percentage.
especially trying to get into, like, say they tried to do Concord and it was an absolute failure. But if Bungie can pull another one out,
That
make it
studio's
success,
gone.
yeah, and if Bungie can make another one successful, I think they'll just say, like, listen, Bungie, y'all have this, y'all know what y'all doing. Here's extra resources, throw it at it and go for it.
I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm gonna be very real with y'all right now.
Hmm.
There is a part of me that believes that if Bungie manages to find any level of success, like, and I mean some like a level of success with this game,
Hmm.
Epic is going to put a version of it in Fortnite and it's going to be over. I'm not trying to be
No, dead serious. Oh, I know, because
I'm being so real.
with the additional modes and stuff they've been adding as of recently, it's like, dog, they
If
literally,
they don't stop showing me advertisements for Ninja Turtles and Snoop Dogg, bruh,
hey, listen.
you know what I'm saying? Andrew says the director was asked the question about Switch 2 port and said, at the moment, we don't have any plans to add additional compatible hardware, but we will consider it in the future. I mean, look, if you can pare it down, right, then I think there's a possibility it makes sense. You have to remember that Bungie being who they are,
Hmm.
man, I hate to say this, but the reality of it is that Bungie is a one-trick pony. They make one game. They make one game with different skins. That's it. Halo is different from Destiny in skin, but in terms of like mechanics, shooting, moving, super similar, right? Which makes sense. It's their DNA, it's their thing. Destiny had its own story. That story was trash in the beginning. And they managed to kind of work it out. But even the original Destiny was supposed to have a 10-year plan that didn't work
Hmm.
out. They ended up doing a Destiny
Hmm.
2 because Activision wanted to push them to do another one with a 2 on it so they could repeat the sales of that original title, which was a thing for numbers, right? That's a thing for your shareholders. We want to put out a thing that has a 2 on it that's going to sell like crazy again, right? The way that this did. And then that has a long term plan. And how do you monetize that? This is, for all intents and purposes, them doing that again. The team that existed at Bungie when the original Marathon came out, I'm positive is not there anymore,
Hmm.
right? So, like, they own the name. That's it. So this would be a reboot, maybe a continuance or something like that. But it's, they got one joint. This is what they do. And so if this doesn't work, what do they do?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Fortnite doesn't have great shooting mechanics, not even in the slightest. Not even. It's still like the biggest shooter on the planet.
Yep.
It's on everything. Because Bungie is who they are,
And not slowing down.
they're not the kind of developer that gets switched to development kits. Because they
Mm-hmm.
don't make games for Nintendo.
Right.
So they would not like even have something to even really, in my opinion, to be looking at, which also means that just looking at what Nintendo said in terms of like how they were divvying out, sending out dev kits
Mm-hmm.
to teams, they wouldn't even get dev kits probably until 3 to 6 months after the release of the Switch to begin with, to even start working on a port, for them to even know what kind of power it really has and how it works and what they could do in terms of putting something like that on it. And it wouldn't make any sense for them to put Destiny on it. So if they're gonna do something, it would have to be Marathon. But if you're gonna do Marathon and Marathon is only online, you got to be able to
Yep.
play that joint with everybody else,
Yep.
and that's work. Fortnite made it work, but that don't mean Bungie's in that
True.
space. It's just I don't. Look, again, announcing a joint like this and not having a price point is kind of crazy. I feel like at this point, I just think it's super important to be able to state that for people up front right now, because people want to know what they're getting into,
Mm-hmm.
right? I also think, even though there's a date right now, right, which maybe that date could move, I don't think they will. I saw a rumor that Grand Theft GTA 6 is being pushed to next year.
Oh.
Now, if that happens, the end of this year is a free run for
Yeah.
everybody,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? But September 23rd, like if Rockstar's like, nah, we doing September.
Then
This joint's moving.
everybody cleared away.
Yeah, just get out of the way
Cleared
now,
away.
cause
This joint is moving, right?
Yeah, easily.
Because
Yeah.
here's the thing. Rockstar can announce Grand Theft Auto at $120.
oh yeah.
And that joint is going to sell out.
Yes.
Period. See, the difference is that Rockstar has the kind of name with what they do with Grand Theft that if they tell you the game costs $120, you will only assume they have put $120 worth of goodness in it. Like,
Yes.
right.
like, oh my, like people will be like, oh my God, 120. I know that joint vicious. Like they will be like, yo,
All the
gotta
songs on
have
the radio stations they're gonna have. You're gonna think
you're
about that.
you're in a place now where like people don't know if they need to save up to put money aside for real to make sure that they
Prep
can
yourself.
do something like this. So you say September, if you don't give them a price point until August,
Yep.
end of June, you know what I mean? And if you wait until, this is the other thing. If you wait until, let's say, E3 season, right?
Mhm.
Summer Game Fest, here's all the new stuff that's coming out. Here's what's coming this year. Here's blah, 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 whatever. If you wait until then to say what the price point is, well, now you really are dealing with people going, but I want that and that and that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do I want them more? And you haven't already set in your head, like, well, nah, I really want this, so I'm setting aside for it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So waiting late to make that decision could also take that away from you. So it's really tricky. On the Switch 2, man, these tariffs, bro. So over the weekend, there was some back and forth about the tariffs not affecting electronics,
Mhm.
computers, da da da. That's kind of backtracked and changed again. And here's part of the problem: it is an ever-changing landscape. I actually saw today that they were saying like, Mans was like, I mean, they were like, what about Apple? It was like, I mean, I'll talk to Tim Cook, but sometimes he's like, but I can't. Like, I made my decision, so The wall is going up. Like we're putting it up. Sometimes you got to go under it or above it or around it or whatever. But we maybe can work something out. You know what I mean? But like it's going in, right? Um, they do want to put it on chips. They are doing it at certain places. It's a it really is having an effect on announcements and what people want to do and where they're shipping things from, and you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, right? And so right now they have still not turned on pre-orders
Hmm.
for Switch 2 for
Nope.
US and Canada. Release date is June 5th. So we're less than 2 months away. Sin.
Yeah.
Are they keeping the release date?
I think they'll hold out as long as they can until they're forced to have to push it. So maybe another month or so.
Jokes? You feel the same?
At least for, I think, like North America, that release date may not stay the same. But as far as the rest of the world may be able to get it.
Um, that's interesting. I think it would be the American market for video games is and has been, I'm gonna say since the PlayStation 2,
Hmm.
the biggest market for video games. It's why
Definitely.
Sony has a headquarters in the US. It's why Nintendo has a headquarters like in Seattle. We're talking Nintendo of America, but like it is probably the most important in terms of console sales and that kind of thing. So to leave the United States out if they do a launch and have that, it used to be that they would do launches. Uh, they never did global launches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 360 days, PS2 days. Um, Cuddy said in Japan, 1,000% no need to delay. Agreed.
Hmm.
And there are people who will pay the money to
To
import this
import it,
game,
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Especially knowing
even
that
though
there's
it's
a
completely
version
Japanese.
there's a version over there that you can get and put it in English still.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. But you have to understand that, like, Sin and I come from importing games. We did that for
Oh
a
yeah.
long time. PS2, Dreamcast,
Mm-hmm.
PS1, like we imported games, we imported consoles and paid a pretty price to do it. If you are importing from those countries that have those tariffs, you will eat that tariff. There are tariffs right now that are upwards of 104%.
Hmm.
So you will pay double the price. And then whoever is selling it to you has to make their money
They
on it.
got to put it, and it's either going to
So
be
you're
passed on to
gonna
you.
pay more than that, right? I think, unfortunately, this is happening to Nintendo. They're the ones who have the new hardware right now while this is
Mm-hmm.
happening. They are unfortunately the test subject for what
Hmm.
this is. They have to be very careful because what they do is in a lot of ways likely to set the precedence for everybody else.
Facts.
However, I think for the first time, we could actually see them release a console everywhere else and
Hmm.
not here. It will be much more like it used to be, where like you better get you a copy of GamePro, EGM, if you want to see what's going on with Nintendo and see the game. You're gonna be looking at pictures and on the website trying to figure it out because we're not getting that console or those games for another 6 months, another year, whatever, right? And some of
Mm-hmm.
that might be we need to release it and sell it elsewhere so that we can make the money that will allow us to eat what we're going to lose selling the consoles in the US.
Hmm.
That's the reality of where we are, right? That I think a lot of people would imagine Nintendo is not going to back down from that global release date,
Hmm.
but I honestly believe that they will do like it'll just be like, all right, US and Canada, you're not getting it. You know what I mean? Until maybe they'll push it to Christmas. There's two things I think could happen. I think there's a possibility that if they push it due to tariffs and they push it US and Canada only, I think there are two things. I think they either push it to the end of this year to take advantage of the fact that people will spend extra money for the holidays,
Right.
or they push it to like next March. And here's why. And who knows exactly what it's going to look like. Nobody else has really attributed this, but traditionally we have seen that consoles usually launch at the end of the year, closer to the holiday.
Mhm.
Somewhere between September and November is usually where we see our consoles launch. That's pretty standard. Nintendo has not done that with the last couple of releases. They have been releasing in like March. Jokes, why is that? Why would Nintendo skip the window that is the holiday when everybody's spending their money and drop it early spring? We lost him. Sin. He was looking sin. Why would they do that? Why would they skip the holiday and drop it in like March?
Maybe because you can pick it up on the back end, like with gift cards and money people receive for the holidays or something like that. You can probably pick it up around then. All that stuff people would have collected by then, by the time spring gets started. So maybe
What's
that's
today?
the angle. Today is tax day.
It's tax day.
People get their returns back.
And people generally start putting in and start getting their returns in like February.
Mm-hmm.
Like the availability of their W-2. The people who, oh, here you go. Here you go, kicking all of us out. Welcome back, Jokes. Realistically, people generally get their W-2s towards in January, early February, and there are a lot of people who start putting in and getting their tax returns at that time frame. Nintendo has been taking advantage of tax season. March through June, tax season,
that's their window.
Got a little extra money because they
Nintendo's window right there. Yeah,
Nintendo has been taking advantage of tax season. So I think if they push it, what makes sense to me is they push it so that it's the holiday. Again, people will spend the extra money. They'll go the extra mile. They'll try to do whatever at that time frame, or they push it to tax season in 2026.
They'll go to the original strategy. Just hold off for tax season.
That's what I think.
Both of those are strong possibilities.
I don't have any interest in a Switch 2. Personally buying one. I have all kinds of interest in what's going on with it. But I don't have any interest in personally buying a Switch 2. I'm not. I don't want one. I don't need one. Joe said he's shutting down his computer.
Okay.
I guess he's coming back. I don't know. So I'm gonna say I think it would be smart of them to probably avoid it, but I think it's still just as a matter of how bad whatever the tariffs are.
Yeah.
In the places where they need to be able to ship from in order to get the consoles to the US. If they're not careful, my understanding is that they have, for probably the first time, actually manufactured an abundance of consoles to actually try to be able to sell them and not like sell out, like to really hit. And there's a couple reasons why that's important. You have a company that is trying to do what Sony wanted to do with the PlayStation 5, which is they are trying to usher in a new console generation. And even though there's backwards compatibility, Nintendo is not necessarily in a position to be able to say, oh, well, yeah, it works. This new game is also going to work on the original Switch. Like Sony was, where they were like, Now you can still run on PlayStation 4, even though they told you it wouldn't run on
Yeah,
PlayStation 4. You needed a PlayStation 5. They were lying, and we knew they were lying.
yeah.
And then they proved it, right? With cartridges and certain things that you have to be able to take advantage of with the age of the console right now, I don't think the Nintendo is in a position, if for whatever reason the Switch 2 doesn't start selling, they're not going to have the numbers in the beginning to be able to sustain doing it without being able to continuously push the original Switch and product, games, and services to the original Switch on the original Switch, which is why I think a lot of what they're doing with it is smart.
Here's a question: if the tariffs get bad, they do have to
That
push
just
back.
says loading snacks. What up, kidlet?
do they pull a switcheroo and put like some of those games that they showed to be for the Switch 2 on the Switch 1 to kind of?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they're going to be able to. You know, like Mario Kart World, I don't know if it can run on it.
Right, yeah.
That's a problem. Because you're also saying 24 players online. Like Mario Kart, you can play by yourself. You can play Mario Kart by yourself. As a matter of fact, you should play Mario Kart by yourself.
I do,
but
oftenly. Yeah.
Sure. I don't think oftenly is a word, but I liked it.
But I credit it, so it is.
We're just gonna run with it.
Oftenly.
Oftenly. With a definition, sir. You know, look, if you can get people together, let's play some Mario Kart, whatever. If you really want to push the online, people need to have enough consoles out there to be able to do it. Kayla says, all the love, miss y'all, have a great show, miss you, Jokes. We assume Jokes misses you too.
Yeah.
He's not here to say so. We miss you.
Facts.
I'm positive Jokes does too. It's good to see you, Kayla. Thanks for jumping in. Yes, and I don't know. I don't know. And again, that's part of what makes it tricky, right?
Yeah.
So June 5th is very swiftly approaching.
Yeah, birthday month is coming. Let's go. Give me my Switch 2 in my Mario Kart World with low tariffs on it, please, so I can actually get one.
I hope. Yeah, there it is.
That's all I can do. Just,
you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, saying it out loud probably jinxes it, so you should probably take that back. But
rewind.
Yeah. On that note, right? So right now, China is imposing a ban on U.S. films as a retaliation to the way that the tariff, there was some back and forth with the tariffs. They didn't like the way it went. So part of what they are saying is that they're going to impose a ban on the number of films and possibly not have films from the U.S. show in China. I want to make it explicitly clear how important the Chinese market has been to Hollywood, to the movie industry over the last few years. Like once China kind of opened up and started allowing those things to happen, let's take Endgame,
okay,
right? One of the highest grossing movies of all time ever. Endgame did about $2.8 billion globally. $2.8 billion.
Okay.
614 million of that came from China alone.
That's a hefty chunk.
It's about a quarter of it.
Yeah, it's a hefty chunk.
That's a lot of. They're the second largest market for movies, for cinema. There's a lot of people there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot of money there. Now, here's what's crazy. The fact that it equates to like, again, 25% of what the total US dollar take is. But you also have to keep in mind that the percentage of money that China gives to the US for the movies that are released there is only like 20% or something like that. Like they don't get like half ticket sales or whatever. They get like 20% of the take. So China themselves, they make a lot of money on US movies. Like, let's not, you know what I'm saying? Um that's going to have an effect if you are making movies that you cannot send overseas to a place like that in order to make money. What has to happen to the budgets for making movies in order for you to be able to release a film and have it be considered successful in terms of dollars, not in terms of like, oh, we have the greatest actors and so got an Oscar. We're not talking about that, because that is a success for the film in a way, for sure. But at the end of the day, the movie has to make money, right? Like, you're spending money to make it. You're spending money to pay actors to be in it. Actors are trying to keep AI out of it.
Right.
Where do movie budgets have to go?
They have to
What
be
does that
cut.
do in the way that we view them, how we enjoy them, what we're willing to accept? How does that affect whether or not, again, continuing to put movies in theaters? What does that do to streaming? Does it add a boon?
I think it hurts all the way. I think it hurts everybody all the way around. And the longer that this thing lasts, it's just people gonna have to adjust and pivot and get used to it. It's sad, but it's the state of the world that we're in right now. Like, it sucks, but everybody's gonna have to adjust, slide some of their meters around and like say, what how much did this make? Is that considered, is making 100 mil? Is that big time now rather than 400 mil for movies of that? All that stuff's gonna have to change and pivot and adjust now. It just is what it is. I know people aren't happy about it, but it's just fact. And what
Yeah,
everybody's gonna have to do.
we're still reeling from the effects of what COVID did to the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
It caused a huge boom in video games and a huge drop in movies, a huge boom in
Yes.
streaming,
Yes.
right? That now we're kind of coming back down off of. And now we're in a place again where we could very easily see that, right? Like, if people have to tighten their wallets, tighten their spending, maybe we're not going to the movies. Maybe we will keep streaming service. Maybe we cut off some of the streaming services. We'll just wait till it comes home. Like, all of that stuff could be a thing that is no longer about, are we able to go outside? It is about, do we afford to go outside?
Yes.
And if we do, are we spending money when we do it?
Yeah. What are we spending our money on when we go out to go? If we're gonna have a little fun, let's splurge a little bit this weekend. What are we picking now? So all that comes into play. Comes back into play. Yeah.
It's a great question, because again, when I go to the movies, it's $150 easy.
Yeah.
Easy. And I know that's happening at least twice in the next like 3-4 months.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, bro. I might go sit in that seat, but I ain't no hot dogs, no pretzels, no popcorn, no Twizzlers, nothing, dog.
I had the 7-Eleven on the way. Y'all grab something real quick and let's pivot.
Yeah, I mean, look, is there even a benefit? You know what? I don't want to go there. I'm not going that far off the rails. I'm not even gonna do that right now. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that there are some serious lessons to be learned from like that last Godzilla film. They put that thing together on a budget
and smoked it. Such a great movie.
Smoked it.
Yes.
And smoked their dollars back. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, like, and I think that there's going to have to be more like, all right.
Yeah. Call up the whole team, have a conversation. Like, can you give us some tips on how y'all was able to pull that off? Because Y'all gave us everything, and you kept the budget very low.
I'll be honest. I also think a couple of things. One, I think we're due for a resurgence of very popular films that do really well in the theater that are not cinematic blockbuster explosions and superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not because that stuff isn't good and entertaining, but I do think that I don't think it's. I know a lot of times what's going on, Alfonso. I know a lot of times what happens is we've been kind of talked about this bubble of like the superhero bubble.
Mm-hmm.
People feel like it's too many superhero films, blah blah blah. I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is there are too many other people that are trying to copy the superhero movie,
Trying to
not
follow
just
that
the
formula.
cinematic universe,
Mm-hmm.
but the formula of it
Yeah.
as a whole. Don't get mad, Sin. Just hear me out.
Far away.
You know I'm gonna, but I'm just Fast and the Furious turned into superhero films on the strength of what was happening in the MCU, and it's not a secret. Like we know it. What they are doing is the most ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense,
And I can't wait for the next one.
which is fine, right?
Right.
But in the context of what it is, in chasing
Yeah.
what the most popular thing was. Again, think about it. When the first Fast and Furious came out, you're talking Fast and Furious and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
Two movies that are very different, but much more alike than where the franchise has
Yes.
gone in terms of what Fast and the Furious is.
1000%. Yeah.
Cars, stealing cars, boosting cars, and racing cars, and getting to the end is what that was like. And you're talking about at a time where even in video games, Midnight Club was like
Oof. Need for Speed
that
Underground too.
thing.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so you're talking about a change in the chasing of the most popular thing because it's making the most money and it has the most draw, right? So it's not everybody going, oh, let's do a superhero movie. There was a little bit of that. Like Hancock was definitely like a, ooh, let's jump on the, you know what I mean? Trash. But that was actually trying to like almost specifically copy that and copy the formula, right? And it makes sense for DC to do it and Marvel to do it.
Because they're
But for
actually
anybody
like,
else, right, that's kind of trying to go that way, again, if you take a movie like The Kingsman, if you take James Bond, right? If you look at the most recent Bond films,
Mission
they
Impossible.
get away from more of the spy stuff and get more into the action. Like they get a little bit more into that and kind of trying to feed into that same kind of space. Mission Impossible, right? The idea of the high stakes mission that was much more like Ocean's 11 type of thing when they came out versus what they have been with the like, well, I'm Tom Cruise and I have to actually jump out of this plane.
I gotta hang from a plane every movie.
Like I gotta do
jump off
a new
cliff.
thing. Like I'm waiting for him to just be like Fast and Furious went to space, so we gotta go to space.
We gotta go to space this time.
That's what we gotta do. They are chasing it as much as they say things like no CGI in this, which they're lying. No, like kind of trying to get away from that and use that as a way to pull. You're still chasing that thing, that summer blockbuster, big explosive kind of like we're gonna release in the summer and put butts in the seats and only in theaters and that. Like you're still chasing that, right? So it's time to get away from that. And I think that there are movies like Sinners that are pushing that boundary, that are like, you know what? Let's really what Jordan Peele is doing. Not necessarily that they have to be horror, but that there are people who are like, let's do stuff that is very cinematic. It could be a little scary. It can have a good story. It can whatever, but we're not necessarily chasing so much pomp to go with that circumstance, if you will. And I think that might help save the movie industry in a way. Andrew said even TV shows try that with all their spinoffs for their universes. Exactly. Like Mythic Quest as a TV show, which sadly just got canceled, right? So, which I think one of the coolest things is that they canceled the show, but because they canceled the show after the end of the fourth season, they're going back and they're reshooting the last episode of the
Redoing.
fourth season to give them a proper ending,
Awesome.
which is cool. But they did a spinoff of that show. Ashley Birch, who been following her since her
Hmm.
hey Ash, what you playing in
Yeah.
days, right? Kind of helmed that spinoff. They do a spinoff, but spinoffs of TV shows have happened forever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's always been a thing. But having them as interconnected pieces of the same universe and kind of happening at the same time, kind of thing, is a little weird. And
Mhm.
again, you see it with the superheroes. So because they're doing it and it's interconnected, now you start to see it with other things. So, but I also think that television and what they're doing with that kind of stuff is kind of coming
Mhm.
back down. If you take Mr. and Mr. Smith, right, as a TV show, high stakes thriller, great storyline between the two of them and what they're doing. The movie is much more rah
Yeah.
rah and shooting and whatever, and this is much more thriller and kind of spy and kind of keeping it low. And there are moments, but like it's still kind of downplayed, but man, like it keeps your interest and it does that. And I think that we as a society are kind of getting to a place where that's where we want to go, and we're okay with that. And we're kind of swinging in that direction. And that might be a thing that allows the movie industry to continue to make what are important and great cinematic movies that can still come out in the theater and do well and not cost $400 million to make,
Hmm.
Mhm.
$230 million to make, so that they can actually make their money back, not just in theater sales, but in streaming, right? And in people buying on streaming, not just streaming services, but like people actually buying the film to watch, whether it's Movies Anywhere or Vudu or whatever it is, so that they can make that money back. Um, it might just be a necessary thing, but it's definitely going to have a lasting effect on the way that we are viewing what we view and our ability to go and do that kind of thing. Jokes, did you watch Devil May Cry?
Nope, haven't watched it
Have
yet.
you watched it? All right. So then, even though you just got back, and so we haven't heard from you in about 12 minutes,
Mhm.
and it's time for you to talk some more because you did watch all of Devil May Cry,
No, I
right?
watched the first episode.
Oh, you only saw the first episode.
Only saw the first episode, yeah, because I had
Oh,
so
okay.
much to watch. I was running through all the first I can catch up with, so
Mm.
I only did the first
Got
one
it.
for right now. I am going to watch
Yeah.
all of it though, but yeah,
On like episode 4.
okay,
Mhm.
What are your thoughts so far? I know you talked about it some on Anime Chat, and if you want
yeah,
the full discussion on what he
that'll be
did
there.
see, then
But
check
I
out
will give
Anime
you a
Chat.
heads up. It was my. I'll give you a heads up. It was my number 3 of the week of everything that I did watch.
Mhm.
Like when we watched it together, I wasn't sold on it. I wasn't sold with Johnny Young Bosch being the voice of Dante. I thought he
I
sounded a
like
little
them
bit.
actually. I feel you, but I like them.
I thought his voice should have been more, I don't know, older sounding or whatever. Like he sounded too young for me on it. But after watching it, I got over that relatively. By the time the episode was over, I was like, okay, I'm not nitpicking about that anymore. But cool,
I'll tell you what. I bet you by the time you like in the third episode, you won't even be thinking about it.
probably not.
I think
But
he's
no,
killing. I'm not even like I think he's doing that joint. Like,
okay.
but okay.
But
But
no,
you're
like
again,
I enjoyed the action. The only gripe I really had about it was I can't stand seeing him with those two 9mm pistols and not ebony and ivory. Like it threw me off. I'm like, he doesn't even have the sword yet. Maybe they'll give it to him later down the line or something like that. But it just feels, like I said, for someone who's been playing Devil May Cry since the beginning, like it just felt wrong to me him not having ebony and ivory with him. Like they're such a staple to the character. So I'm
sure.
hoping later down the line he does get them. But that's like the
But
only
it's
thing that like annoys me watching it right now, and I'm trying
yeah,
to get
it's
past
early.
that.
Like it
Mm.
feels to me like they're leading up to it because I don't think this is a spoiler. Like he gets Doctor Who. What up?
What's up?
Um, he gets his. I think in the first episode he gets his guns broken.
I don't. I
If
gotta
it's not
watch
in
it
the first
again.
episode, by the second episode,
Okay.
like he gets his gun broken, and like when he's getting ready to do something, he's literally like moving stuff around, like, where's that other gun I had? Da, 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 and he just picks up another
Okay.
gun and goes ham. So he just has kind of like joints laying around.
Okay.
But like it feels like this is kind of early on. Like he doesn't really know. He knows what he does. He doesn't know who he is. Like he doesn't really know.
Yeah,
his
supposedly this
actual
one
role.
is like a different
Like,
kind of like universe. Supposedly, like it's not like the
Yeah.
one that we've grown up with
No,
through the
right.
games or whatever. Yeah, it's like a different.
he doesn't learn technically until like the third episode that he's like part demon or that he has demon blood.
Mhm.
He doesn't know. He knows that he can move and he can do things other people can't do.
Yeah, like when that
He doesn't
truck
know
was flying
why.
through the window, he got over there quick, got everybody out of there. I'm like,
What I'm
dude,
saying,
okay.
like he knows he can do things that other people can't, but it's like it hasn't really dawned on him like why.
Mhm.
And then there's a plot point I won't give away
Okay.
that kind of happens that gets. Let me tell you something, dog. That third episode, bruh, it get real devilly may cry.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
they start to get. Yeah. So
Might be my next weekend binge, that and Moonrise. Okay.
yeah, right now I'm like I gotta go back in. I need to finish that joint.
Okay.
It's pretty clean so far.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode a lot more than I thought I would. So I was like, oh, this gonna be on my top 3s for this week. Okay. Not bad. I'm looking forward to keep on going with it. So okay.
I think
Salute to
if
them.
you keep watching it, it's might stay up there somewhere. Look, depending on what else you watching.
I'm about to say
I know
it's a tough. It's so far with these episodes ones, it's shaped up to be a tough season. So
he's
it's still plenty to go through. But this was high. This was high.
This is kind of working. I'm just saying. I like the direction. Let me just put it that way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, Windbreakers to Capri with also they back.
currently I'm on my highly recommend
Okay.
for that. Jokes.
Yeah, Netflix is swinging right now with anime. They got some good ones on there right now.
100%.
Mhm.
100%. Jokes, I'm gonna drop you a link. Wait a minute. Sin, I'm gonna drop you a link. So
I was about to say.
So I don't want to be the one. All right, well. All right, Sin, grab that link. Let's take a look at this. I saw a picture and the name of this movie, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
"Why you laughing? Why you laughing, Sin? Because you see it. Like I know you see
I saw
it.
the name of the movie. Like, is this right up my alley here?
I probably wouldn't be showing it if it wasn't something. These are the kind of things that, like, when we show this kind of stuff, I don't understand how Jokes cannot already be on stuff like this. Like, he just didn't grow up with. I don't know how you grew up watching. You know what it is? I know why. It's because you didn't actually grow up watching like kung fu flicks. You grew up watching Power Rangers fights.
Oh,
They're not the same.
Not the same.
Find her. Find her or I'll kill a fucking lot of you. Don't move. If you run, I'll catch you.
We have to leave. They'll come and kill us.
Tornado!
Listen to your father. Defenses attack.
Where'd you get this? You got my goal?
No. I do not want to fight you.
think twice about it.
My father was a samurai.
You are your father's daughter.
Am I a samurai? Am I a killer?
You good.
戦いで生を望む者には
You black man.
死あるのみ。
See?
I am Tornado. Remember my name.
I will. 'Cause it's the name of the movie.
All right, so look, this joint doesn't even look like it has great fight scenes. It doesn't. I need to see this joint anyway.
Facts. Facts.
I need to see this joint.
Yes.
I have to like
It's gonna be
that.
bloody and gruesome.
Yeah, son.
It's gonna be bloody and gruesome. It's gonna be
That
limbs.
part.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad in a good way.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's a thing that dropped unexpectedly today. Jokes, what I want you to do,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna drop this in the private chat for Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Jokes, what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to Sin's face as he grabs the link and he pulls it up. See how he's doing right now?
No, I haven't seen
I
anything
want you
yet.
to watch his face when as we get ready to show this. Because
Okay.
I'm telling you now,
You gotta get back to work.
dang,
Get
bro,
back to
it's
work.
too much happening right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's out of control. Oh man.
There we go.
Oh.
The Imperium demands the Trigon's extermination. May the Emperor damn this monstrosity.
I just updated this too.
Face
Yep.
the
That
blazing
explains why.
justice of the Emperor. Not even this interminable storm dampens our chapter's colors. The Trigon breaches the sand. Brace for the beast.
If we have anything to say about it,
Must confront and exterminate.
You understand what I'm saying?
woo!
For the Emperor!
Oh yes. Oh yes. Okay. Some new looks. Space Wolves chapter. Oh yeah, the Die Wolf back too. Let's go.
No aid comes for you. Only a
See that
swift
thunder hammer, baby?
Yes. Douche.
obliterate every last odious scourge. The Trigon could be anywhere. Clever beast aims to pounce upon us.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Who's got time for that?
Nobody. All these joints dropping in Game Pass. They just dropped that on us. WrestleMania's here. Like, come on now.
Hey, bro, give me like 30 seconds to talk about this joint Blueprints. They dropped this joint in Game Pass last week. I kept hearing people talking about it, raving about it. Like, oh, Blueprints. People talking about this joint being Game of the Year.
Damn.
Yeah, I know I'm a puzzle guy. I like puzzle games. Neither one of you should touch this game with a 10-foot pole. This is not for you. Okay.
That intrigues me kind of though.
I know, right? Like, dang, the disrespect. But I
Is
know
it
what he means.
disrespectful,
I know
though?
what he means, though.
I like, come on, man. Yeah, it's not your thing. Like, you just don't. I don't want to. Yeah, nah. Just don't. Just don't.
Hold on.
I don't think you guys would
Hey.
like it.
That joint is stolen right now, though. I'm gonna give it like
Hold
five.
on,
I'm gonna give it like 30
give it a solid-
seconds. Yeah, you give it 5 minutes. Give it a shot. Before I delete it.
My man's like, I'll do
Game
the
Pass?
15 minutes for Game Pass, get my points off the joint real quick or whatever. Like,
delete.
bruh, don't feel now. Jokes. Play it with Tatiana. Don't try to do it. Here's the thing. I'm not sure about you, Jokes, because I know you don't like pick up and choose puzzle games,
Mm-hmm.
but your personality is that you won't let go. You will
Facts.
just keep digging. Listen, all this joint is your like uncle or great uncle or whatever died, left you this
Mm-hmm.
house. It is a 45 room mansion. The puzzle is, can you
I've heard about
find
this.
the 46th
Sixth
room?
room.
Now, the game is called Blueprints. And like what happens is when you walk into the first room, when you walk in the front door of the house,
Mm-hmm.
you have a blueprint layout. And it's spelled blueprints like
Yeah.
PRINCE,
Yeah.
like you are a prince,
Prince.
but it's a play on words of blueprints, right? So you have this blueprint that's laid out in front of you, and you have like it's 5 squares across, right? So you're in the center square when you walk into the room, and you have a door in front of you and to either side of you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Once you walk up to a door and say you want to open that door, it
Mm-hmm.
will give you 3 choices of what type of room the next room you walk into is.
Okay.
Okay. So it might be a closet, it could be a bedroom, it might be a hallway, it might be just like a left turn, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. It could be a den, it could be like there are these different styles of rooms, right? And different rooms have different things in them. So like you might walk in the den, and when you go in the den, well, now the den only has 2 ways out, right? So you have where you walked in, and maybe there's a door on your left and a door in front of you, no door
Mm-hmm.
on the right, right? And so once you're in there, you can only go to one of those 2 doors, right, to continue your map for the joint, right? But in the den, there might be like a game you have to play. You'll find a piece of paper, it has a clue on it. You read it, they tell you there's a game. Now you got to go over to this box. Andrew said, "Why does the premise sound like a mobile game?" I'm positive it could work as a mobile game. I don't know if it is. I don't think it's on mobile, but like now you can play and try to solve the mystery of what's in these boxes. So like I
What's in the
go to the box.
box?
In the 3 boxes, they tell you that one box will always have will always say the truth. One box will always be a lie, right? I can't remember what the other box is, but either way, I go to the boxes. There's like a silver one, a blue one, and a black box.
Mm-hmm.
And what it says on top of the black box is the prize you want is inside the black box, right? The other 2 both say this is the black box. So the blue one has a note on it that says this is the black box, and the silver one has a note on it that says this is the black box. And you have a black box that says the prize is inside the black box. So you got to figure out. You only have one key.
Which is the real
You got to
black
figure out
box.
which one of them has something in it, right? And what you get out of that is something you can use for something else. Now, here's the trick. You only get 50 steps. Every time you walk in a room, you lose a step. So when you go into, it's not your actual steps, but you start at 50. You walk into the first room, you're at 49. When you walk into the next room, you're at 48. When you walk into the next room, you're at 47. If you go back into a room you just came out of, you still lose another step. But there are rooms that you can put down when you walk in one that might say every time you walk in this room, you get 2 steps back.
Okay.
Dog, this joint is nuts, dog.
Okay.
Listen, it's nuts. So I told Zayna, I was like, listen, Zayna, found this game. Just give it a whirl. I went back up to her room like 2 hours later, and she just looked at me and was like, what have you done to me? I'm going to tell you that, like, the reviews on this joint are coming in 10 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s.
Okay.
Again, they are saying game of the year. They say it takes on average somewhere between like 16 and 20 hours to complete, like to find room 46.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much other stuff to find that there are people that right now have 120 hours in this game
Light work.
after they already beat it. And I'm like, I have so many people to assassinate in Assassin's Creed right now. Claire Obscura Expedition 33 comes out next week in Game Pass.
Woo.
I have to
Damn.
be there.
Yeah, I'm on that. So
You know what I mean? Like
I haven't
I've
even touched
already
South of Midnight yet.
South of Midnight. What up, low key? Dang. Adam West in the
What's
building.
good,
What up,
bro?
Adam? I watched. So the first episode of The Last of Us is out.
Mm-hmm.
The Last of Us season 2. I watched it. My impressions right now are it's more Last of Us. And however you felt about The Last of Us when you ended season 1,
Mm-hmm.
welcome back. That's my impressions.
That's it
Okay.
right there.
Last episode of Daredevil drops tonight.
Yep.
yes.
I got a long
Episode
night.
9 of Daredevil. So we got that.
Mm-hmm.
Andor starts next week. Star Wars Celebration is next week.
Mm-hmm.
That's on Saturday?
No,
Pretty sure
I
it's
think it's the following Saturday. I think
No,
it's not this Saturday. I think it's the
It's
following.
the
Saturday.
19th, if I'm not mistaken. Because I said
Nah,
it's
you're right. It is. It's the 19th.
Yeah, because it's
the
WrestleMania
19th.
Saturday. I saw that and I was like,
Yeah.
Oh well.
You're right.
Hey, listen, multiple screens, my dude. Yeet.
Now we're gonna be out for day one. We'll be out that day. For that evening.
Multiple screens, my dude. Yeet.
Wow.
All right. Keep
First of
keep me
all-
updated.
Don't say that anymore. Yeah, there's a lot happening. So, we have been busy. We're gonna stay busy. We still have stuff that's coming out from our time at AwesomeCon. Pretty much all of our interviews are uploaded. It's just about getting them out to you now. So we just gotta, do some finagling and get those out to you. So keep your eyes peeled for those on both YouTube and on IG. Jokes, you are doing something about WrestleMania this week, correct? Are you doing that live or what are we doing?
Now we're doing a recording. So
Okay.
usual suspects, you'll have me and Marcus. With people that actually haven't gone off to Vegas, because I do have some friends that are actually heading to Vegas. So but Ben and Mike are going to join us, and we're gonna have more of a conversation. So not a prediction show or anything, really talking about like our opinions on WrestleMania 41, some of the matches, how we think it stacks up against previous WrestleMania cards, conversation more along the lines of like that. So stay tuned.
Okay.
The idea is to get that up by Friday, and so you guys can see it beforehand, because Saturday is going to be a long day for wrestling.
Yeah, it's like 12 hours for us. We got NXT before WrestleMania starts.
Not me, dog. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't gonna join us on Saturday? You ain't gonna come out?
No. No. I mean, I'm going out. But not for WrestleMania. You know what? Let me maybe. I don't have any intention on paying attention to what y'all are doing. I might come out for a little bit. I here's the thing. I love Dr. D. So I want to support him. So I will probably slide through there just to be like, you know what I mean? I want to support him, even though like I mostly don't care. I'm finna go sing some songs or something. Like I don't know, but I don't intend to be.
We need to get some good seats jokes. That's all I know.
I know. We may finish that place like an hour early before
Something like this. If I don't got good seats, I will come right back home and watch it on the big TV.
Listen. No lies there.
Yeah.
All right. So again, we've already kind of talked about Anime Chat. No, that goes live on Thursday.
10 a.m. Yep.
So Anime Chat live Thursday, 10 a.m. Hopefully the finisher Friday morning.
That's what I'm aiming for.
All right. We'll see how that turns out. Wrestling all this weekend, Star Wars Celebration this weekend, Andor starting, Last of Us starting, Daredevil ending. It's a run. It's going down.
Anime spring season underway.
Yeah.
Busy,
it's
yeah.
Very yeah. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us this evening. Yeah. Yeah, Andrew.
Yep. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
I'm super ready. I'm super ready. I'm planning to go in like late tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna stay up regardless of what time it is. I'll probably stay up tonight and knock it out.
I'm gonna watch at least a couple episodes of anime and see if I can get through NXT before I pass out. And I'll do Daredevil in the morning at work.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for, like I said, hanging out with us this evening. It's always great to have you here along for the ride, whether it stays on the tracks or not. Mm-hmm. Obviously, next week, let me just preface this now. We will have to talk about WrestleMania in some capacity next week. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll my eyes now. Get it out of my system. So that next week, yeah, clearly we're gonna have to talk about what happens at WrestleMania this week. When we do the show next week. So just be prepared for that. It's not gonna be a lot, you know what I mean? And you know, we'll mix it in with whatever else is going on. Mm-hmm. We'll have to talk about some of the news, obviously, that's coming out of Star Wars Celebration. EA announced a new game yesterday, single player turn-based Star Wars game.
Okay.
That they're supposed to give us some more information on at Celebration. So there's going to be other stuff to talk about. You know, next week we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, like we always do. Please remember to check us out on Spotify. We upload pretty much everything that we do to Spotify. There is a podcast version of it. There are podcast versions of this show, Anime Chat, Finisher, Movie Club, all on YouTube. I don't know if a lot of people realize that there are podcasts that are on YouTube, that podcast versions. So podcasts, if you are using YouTube Music, these podcasts will show up in your feed for YouTube Music, not just your standalone YouTube. And so if you have YouTube Music, it will allow you to like listen with your screen off and that kind of thing. So we have these videos like this uploaded as podcasts. Save this podcast. You can go in and listen and or watch on YouTube, also on Spotify, Apple, generally anywhere you can get podcasts. You can go back and check us out there. So if you would go and just kind of search Loading Snacks, you'll find the shows. Give us a follow across the ones that, you know, matter the most to you, or all of them. If that, you know what I mean, so behooves you. We appreciate the support. We have some additional things that are brewing, but we're not quite ready to talk about all those things just yet. But summer's coming. It's gonna get busier than it already is. Just know we're gonna have a lot of stuff happening. Jokes.
Yes, sir.
Tell the folks what I need them to hear.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Tools and lose.
Loading Snacks